This part is powerful, fast, and deeply conditioned. You consciously want one thing, but your life keeps producing something else. On the surface, it looks like self sabotage. Underneath, it's subconscious programming. When the two are aligned, life feels effortless. They try to force new habits without changing beliefs. The iceberg metaphor. Understanding the power of your subconscious. Most of what drives your life is invisible to you. What you see on the surface, your actions, choices, habits, and reactions is only a small part of the story. The real power shaping your behavior sits underneath awareness, quietly influencing everything you do. This is best understood through the iceberg metaphor. Imagine your mind as an iceberg floating in the ocean. The small part above the water represents your conscious mind. This is the part you are aware of. It thinks, analyzes, plans, and makes logical decisions. It sets goals and intentions. It says things like, I should change, I want to do better, or from tomorrow I'll be different. But that visible part is only about 5% of the iceberg. The massive part below the water represents your subconscious mind. This is where habits, beliefs, emotional patterns, fears, memories, and automatic reactions live. This part is powerful, fast, and deeply conditioned. It runs the remaining 95% of your behavior without asking for your permission. This explains a very common human experience. You consciously want one thing, but your life keeps producing something else. You want consistency, but you procrastinate. You want peace, but you overthink. On the surface, it looks like self sabotage. Underneath, it's subconscious programming. The conscious mind is like the captain giving instructions. The subconscious mind is like the engine powering the ship. If the engine is set in one direction, the ship will move that way no matter what the captain says. Shouting louder doesn't help. You have to work with the engine. Your subconscious mind was shaped long before you had the ability to choose consciously. It learned through repetition, emotional experiences, and observation. Childhood experiences, family dynamics, school environments, cultural messages, and repeated emotional moments all sank into the subconscious without being questioned. The subconscious doesn't ask, is this true? It asks, is this familiar? Familiar feels safe to the subconscious, even if it's painful or limiting. This is why people repeat patterns they say they don't want. Familiar stress, familiar relationships, familiar struggles. The iceberg keeps floating in the same direction because that's what it knows. The conscious mind works slowly and logically. The subconscious mind works fast and emotionally. When the two are aligned, life feels effortless. When they are in conflict, life feels like a constant struggle. Most people live in conflict without understanding why. Think about habits. You don't consciously decide every morning how to brush your teeth. You don't analyze each step. Behavior runs automatically. That automatic nature is subconscious control. The same system runs emotional reactions, food choices, phone usage, avoidance, and self talk. This is why motivation alone rarely creates lasting change. Motivation belongs to the conscious mind. It fades. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to motivation, it responds to patterns. If the pattern doesn't change, behavior doesn't change. Another important part of the iceberg metaphor is this: you cannot see the full iceberg while standing above water. In the same way, you cannot fully understand your behavior by looking only at surface actions. When someone says, I don't know why I did that, they are telling the truth. The reason exists, but it lives below awareness. Emotional reactions are one of the clearest windows into the subconscious. When something triggers a strong reaction that feels bigger than the situation, the iceberg has been touched. Old memories, beliefs, or emotional imprints are being activated. The reaction is not about the present moment alone, it's about stored information rising up. The subconscious mind is not intelligent in the way the conscious mind is. It does not reason or debate, it stores associations. If pain happened repeatedly in certain situations, the subconscious learns to avoid those similar situations. If approval came from pleasing others, the subconscious learns to prioritize that behavior. These are survival strategies, not conscious choices. This is why the subconscious should not be treated as the enemy. Everything it does is an attempt to protect you based on the past information. The problem is not intention, the problem is outdated programming. The iceberg metaphor also explains why surface level change often fails. People try to change behavior without addressing the deeper layers. They try to force new habits without changing beliefs. They try to think positively without resolving emotional patterns. Real change happens when the subconscious is included in the process, when beliefs are questioned, when emotional patterns are softened, when repetition is used intentionally, when safety is created for new behaviors. Influencing the subconscious does not require force, it requires consistency, emotion, and patience. The subconscious learns through repetition, not intensity. Small actions repeated daily reshape the iceberg slowly but permanently. Awareness is the first step. When you notice patterns without judgment, you bring light to what was underwater. You don't need to fix everything at once. You need to understand what's actually driving your behavior. This course uses the iceberg metaphor to help you stop blaming yourself and start understanding yourself. When you see that most of your behavior comes from hidden layers, self compassion grows. And self compassion is not weakness, it is clarity. As you continue, remember this: you are not failing at change, you are just trying to steer the iceberg from the surface. Once you learn how to work with what's underneath, direction changes naturally. The power of your subconscious is already shaping your life.